tell me about this first engagement at Ballsbridge.
Yes, well, as I say, we were sitting on the curb with the ladies from the adjoining houses bringing us cups of tea, quite comfortable, nothing like wartime, and then we had this burst of fire from both sides of the road. So then we had to take cover in behind walls or where we could be, and we eventually managed to calm things down, and then we started on the walk to Dublin. And it was going into Dublin that we really got into the heavy fire. Well, we started to go along, and we got to I believe it's like a junction, the Northumberland Road, when this heavy fire came. We had to stop naturally and take what cover we could. I believe it was there where Colonel Fane gave the orders to attack this place. Well, it was futile, you know. They've got to go across an open ground, and he hadn't gone many yards before he was face down. A regular first time bloke. Turned round, he says, oh, what was his name? Lieutenant Perry. Fall into those men and take that place. Well, the same thing happened again, so there's nothing he could do was tell the rest of them to come back. And we stayed there until started to get a bit dusk, and then under heavy fire we sent the hand grenade people in, and they were throwing the grenades in and burnt and busted them out. So that's how we took that corner. It was a bit rough, as I say. We lost an awful lot of men around about, an awful lot. I was one of the lucky ones. The nearest I got to being it was from one of the sergeants at the back of me. He let fire, and he was quite close to me and scorched my cheek. I shan't tell you what I said to him. But
and then what happened after this particular building had been cleared? What was your next job?
Then started to march into Dublin, right into Dublin itself. And by now it was getting rather dark, and I was detailed off with a lot more to get into the houses and go along the rafters, sorting the prisoners out and bringing them out from there. When they realised that they were eventually going to get caught, although some of them got away, they gave themselves up. You see, the unfortunate thing about this arising was the fact that there were so many youngsters in it had not the foggiest idea what was taking place. They was under the impression they was just going on one of their usual manoeuvres. So the poor devils was as bad as what we were. See, so that's how we eventually cleared those places up.
How did they strike you, the prisoners that you saw?
Well, they struck me so many on. There was little more than boys, 17, 18, and that sort of thing. I felt sorry to see such youngsters, although I must admit we'd got them in our unit, because we'd got then the Derby recruits, as they was called, that was called up under the Derby scheme, and they hadn't been long with us. They hadn't fired a rifle, and I doubt if they knew the rudiments of rifles by then, because they hadn't been in long enough.
So there were really boys on both sides?
There were boys on both sides, yes, there were, yes.
What would you say was the worst feature, from your point of view, of fighting in Dublin?
Well, the heavy gunfire, which faced the post office, it was terrific, you know, the gunfire was. But I think the actual worst part was at that corner of Northumberland Road, as far as I myself was concerned. That was the worst part. As I say, by the time we got into Dublin and got going round the places, we was directed into these houses. We was missing the heavier part outside.
Not easy to recognise the enemy, I suppose.
Oh no, it isn't. It's same now in Belfast, Northern Ireland. You don't know who's
Because they
who.
weren't wearing. Were they wearing any distinguishing marks?
There's some of them wearing something like a khaki uniform.
After the surrender, you were on duty at Kilmainham.
Yes.
Yeah. Tell me about that.
Well, we was so many was put into Kilmainham hospital barracks. That's what it was, hospital barracks, and we was on duty, or you was resting, whichever you was. Well, it did fall to me to be on duty over Countess Markovitz at one time. And I had been on duty over Plunkett, but not at the time when he was executed. You see, when they brought his future wife in, and they was married, and immediately after daybreak he was shot. It seemed a bad thing, but that's life, isn't it, when you're in the army. You have got to take the bad along with the smooth. Yes, it seemed a terrible thing to do.
Would you have, would you have welcomed? I mean, would you have volunteered, or would you have? If you'd been asked to take part in the firing squad, what would you have?
I would not have volunteered, but as a soldier, if I was ordered to do it, I would have to do it. But I would never have volunteered for anything like that. No. Now, it's one of those things well, there might be some that would have volunteered. I certainly can't tell you of anybody that was on the firing squad, because I never knew who they were, who was picked for it or not. I don't know whether there were some that got blanks, so many was. Yes. I couldn't say that.
And then you took people over, some of the prisoners over to Dartmoor.
Yes.
Tell me about that. You talked to some of them?
Yes, there was, as far as I can recollect, I believe there was 12 of them who had been sentenced to death, but they had their commuted to life imprisonment, and we boarded the boat at Dublin, came over to Holyhead, got on the train at Holyhead, and was taken straight down to Dublin. I mean to Portsmouth. I'll get it in Dartmoor. Now,
what did they make of Dartmoor?
Oh, that quieted them straight away. They were very, very quiet then. When they saw the place, they were laughing and joking with the troops that was guarding them. You see, we had so many in each carriage, and they were just treating it as a huge joke. But, of course, when they saw that prison, they stopped joking. And before we came away, I asked one of the guards, do you think they'll be all right? He said, they're all right. They've all had the head shaved now. In that short time, yes. So it's a foreboding place. Dartmoor is a terrible place.